Hey everybody, welcome back to On the Sidelines. Fourth quarter on deck for you right here. And in this last segment, we want to introduce our new SEC Analytic Power Rankings. Now, these are power rankings that are devoid of any human influence, if you will. These are no opinions, no win-loss record, no perceived strength of schedule, which can kind of get murky. So this is how we did it. 14 key categories, statistical categories in the SEC. We combined them all, averaged them out throughout the 14 teams of the SEC, and came up with a little pecking order. Some of these things are a little hard to believe maybe, but it's what the numbers say. And it's surprising just how accurate these things can be. So let's break it down, starting with Alabama-Arkansas. That's going to be a pretty good game.
Well, real
and
quick,
a low-scoring game.
let's go through our rankings real quick that
we
came up with.
Let's take a look at it.
We ranked the teams, and what we have right now with 5 groups in the SEC is what we're going to have. Is 5 every week. There'll be 5 groups. Group 1 being top tier. Group 2, good. Group 3, middle of the pack, bad, horrible. Get it?
Okay.
Group 1, Alabama's by themselves right now with an average score of 2.64.
You know, we're talking about that pretty much means they're ranked from 1 to 5 in pretty much every statistical category. And, I mean, that you expect that from Alabama. They are a loaded team, and it looks like they are the best team top to bottom when you consider all the rankings that we throw into this thing.
Coming in Group 2, we have 2 teams in Group 2, and that's our second and third ranked teams. At number 2, Texas A&M with an analytic score of 5.14, and then Florida with an analytic score of 5.57, even though they lost the game to Tennessee. That doesn't matter in our analytic power rankings because we're not factoring in win-loss.
Yeah.
When you look based off of our formula would have picked Tennessee to actually win that game based off of the fact of home field advantage and key loss to injury. With Del Rio out, would have shifted the point totals in Tennessee's favor with our analytic rating. But we'll get to Tennessee in a second.
And you have to understand that most of these games are with Del Rio throwing the ball. So that's why their ranking was higher, and it influenced these rankings here.
And you're going to see where Tennessee is, which is going to surprise people. In Group 3, number 4 in the SEC, Arkansas, with an analytic rating of 6.48. Number 5 is Auburn, with the OTS analytic rating of 7.7. Number 6, Mississippi State, which I'm sure it helped this weekend with their game against UMass, totaling 589 yards of total offense. But they come in with the analytic ranking of our formula with a 7.14, which is just behind Auburn at number 5. Then comes Tennessee, number 7. 5-0 Tennessee, 7.64. LSU to 7.78 at number 8. Group 4, Missouri, number 8, with an analytic score of 8. Ole Miss comes in, Missouri's number 9 with a score of 8. Ole Miss is 10th in the SEC in our rankings right now.
And when you think about why, it's not hard to find out. Their offense is very good, but their defense really starts to let up in the second half due to their depth issues.
And you look at what happened to Florida State and you start to wonder how good are they really.
Yeah.
After Ole Miss comes Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's pretty high
with
up
an analytic score of 8.71. And then right behind them is South Carolina with a score of 8.92 at number 12. And then we have Group 5, which is Vanderbilt and Kentucky by themselves. Vandy with a score of 10 and Kentucky have a score of 10.28. Looking at that, we have Alabama-Arkansas coming up. Alabama going to be on the road. On the road, that gives Arkansas, which is a 6.48. They take a point off for home field advantage. Gives them a 5.48 score going into the game against Alabama and their 2.64 score. For me, that's not enough.
Not quite enough.
Sticking with the formula says Alabama beats Arkansas by about 10 to 14 points.
Yeah, and I would think that, at the end of the day, Alabama is a little too deep, and Arkansas is not clearly settled on their running backs. They're still kind of finding out who their bell cow is, and if that's the case.
No, their bell cow is whatever.
Raleigh?
Raleigh Williams III is their bell cow. He's second in the SEC in rushing. He's had 300.
Well, that's just because they rush so much.
They've been throwing the ball more than you think lately.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He has 3 out of the last 4 games, 100-yard rushing games. And Austin Allen is number 1 in the SEC in passing efficiency. This is a scary game for Alabama. Yeah. I don't see how Arkansas does it, especially when you look at what A&M did to Arkansas a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Just slowly pulling away, and then it ended up being almost a blowout.
Alabama's going to go on the road and get the win 34-27.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring game, so I'm thinking 27-17.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Alabama's pass defense has really struggled, and that's where Arkansas is really.
You think it's going to be a passing? I just don't know. I don't know. I think Arkansas's defense has a lot of answers for what Alabama does offensively, and if they can really hone in on Calvin Ridley, then Alabama's in trouble because they're still. People are now saying that their best running back option is a freshman, and now your quarterback is a freshman as well. That's going to get you beat somewhere.
Eventually, it will be. And it's going to be interesting though if Arkansas.
The turnover battle, I think, is key here.
That's one reason why Alabama is ranked so high. I think is their ability to score defensive and special teams touchdowns.
Starting the year out, every game. 5 straight games now, 7 total defensive touchdowns. Mind-boggling.
Arkansas pulls the upset here if they do not allow Alabama to score a defensive touchdown.
Right.
And really just lay down when Alabama wins the play. Look at each play individually. And when Alabama wins the play, just lay down and live for another play. Don't fight.
Don't throw it into triple coverage. Don't throw it anywhere near Eddie Jackson.
Don't fight to win the play. Don't fight to win the play when Alabama's already won the play because that's when the turnover comes. That's when the fumble comes. That's when the defensive touchdown comes.
And that's when you get beat.
And then that's when you get beat.
All right. Well, in that case, but I still think Alabama does pull away slowly at the end. Austin Allen, still in his first year, I think he's going to have some growing pains when the Tide comes to town. Auburn playing against Mississippi State, noon game on the road in Starkville. The bells will be clanging. Auburn is favored by a field goal.
Auburn's favored by a field goal in our rankings. Auburn with a 7.01 score, ranked 5th versus 6th ranked, surprisingly, Mississippi State. One of the biggest surprises in our rankings at 7.14. Based off our formula and our math, it would suggest Mississippi State would win this game because of home field advantage.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a close one.
Also factoring in 11 a.m.'s farewell for the away team takes away from the home field advantage, and I call that a scratch. And I do think Auburn pulls away probably by about a field goal.
If people aren't familiar with this noon game kind of hangover, well, check this out. Think about this. The home team is chilling. They're in their own dorm room. They're not, they're where they're comfortable. The away team, on the other hand, has already left the safe confines of their campus, have been sitting in a hotel, and they've had curfew as well.
They're antsy.
Exactly. And they're also the ones who have to get up a little bit earlier as well to get there to the stadium and get prepared. So mentally, that team has an advantage, and that's what we're talking about with that Saturday afternoon thing. But, I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go Auburn 27, Mississippi State 24.
That sounds about right. About right. Based
28-24, something like that, 31-27.
And let's just, before we end, let's just go and run through, based off formula, the OTS formula.
All right. LSU, Florida, also a noon game on CBS.
Florida wins.
Yeah.
Florida with the 5.7, not only that, but they have home field advantage, and they're retaining Del Rio. That really extends it from 7.78 for LSU to really down to a 4.57 for Florida when you factor in home field advantage and Del Rio coming back. I think Florida wins handily based off formula.
And you still don't know if Fournette is going to be 100%. Can Geis continue the magic for a second straight game? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. But they made mincemeat out of Missouri, and I didn't think that was going to happen either. So
Tennessee,
really
Texas
crazy.
A&M.
Tennessee, Texas A&M. Well, that's a tough one. But
formula,
according to the formula, A&M's at home. They're much higher ranked
Mm-hmm. 5.14, second in the SEC.
Yeah, and I got to think
Tennessee
that they
is
pull
seventh.
away.
Tennessee is ranked 7th in the SEC in our power rankings at 7.64. Being at home, it's almost a 3-point difference when you factor in home field advantage and our point scoring. A&M handles this.
How much will Tennessee be down in the first half against A&M? 21-0 again? I'm thinking it's going to happen again.
I actually think they come out and jump on A&M.
Really? Mm-hmm. And A&M's got to come back. That would be interesting.
Here's one where we have an upset in the formula with Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and it's based off of home field. Vanderbilt at Kentucky. Vanderbilt with a score of 10 versus Kentucky with a score of 10.28. Factoring in home field advantage, which subtracts, which is good, subtracting points, takes Kentucky's score of a 10.28 to a 9.28 versus Vanderbilt's 10. And Kentucky gets the win versus Vanderbilt at home at 3 p.m. Saturday.
And that may very well save Stoops' career at Kentucky because coming into this season, lost to Southern Miss, you give up 42 to New Mexico State, and you still win, but you're not looking good right now at 2-3. But if you beat Vanderbilt, I think that'll keep him there for one more year. But I still don't know if he can even get bowl eligible.
We've got one more game. Georgia, South Carolina. Georgia with a score of 8.71 at South Carolina with a ranking score of 8.92. I've picked formula shows South Carolina wins the game based off home field advantage. With that point given to them for home field advantage, it takes their score down to a 7.92. Georgia's just – I have not been impressed with Georgia. They're ranked 11th in our rankings for the SEC.
They play up and down to their competition.
In our SEC rankings, it's 11th ranked Georgia versus 12th ranked South Carolina in our SEC rankings. Yeah. And I think South Carolina pulls the upset versus Georgia.
Boy, that would be humongous. So y'all heard it here. Our SEC Analytic Power Rankings predicting a South Carolina upset of Georgia. Let's take a look real quick at the top 25 slate, and
we don't have time, dude. We got 1 minute, man.
That's where I just want to go really quick.
We don't have time. We have 1 minute.
We will.
We don't have time.
We'll get to it.
We got 30 seconds, folks.
Because your kids keep talking.
Thanks for joining us.
He said we got 1 minute. We got 1 minute. Hold on. All right. So, come on, man.
We don't have time.
We'll get to it. All right. Top 10. Let's see. Alabama, Arkansas. We got that one. Houston, Navy's going to be a crazy game. I'm going to like that one. Virginia Tech, North Carolina. I think North Carolina keeps on rolling. Michigan, take them against Rutgers. They will blow them out. Everyone is crushing Rutgers this year. They're an awful, awful team. Washington, Oregon. Washington have any problem with Oregon? I don't think so.
Washington beats Oregon, especially those ugly uniforms they're going to wear.
Miami, favored to win against Florida State in Miami.
Miami.
I'm thinking Miami too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for On the Sidelines. Thank you for everybody who called in to the show. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Hunter, take us out.
Folks, use the game. Don't let the game use you. Have a good week.
Take care, everybody.